Good morning, Mr. Isaac. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. I'm happy to be back with my boy again. You always got the
Yeah.
cleanest shirts on, so trying to learn, trying to
Thank you.
find out where you shop.
We're about to get in summer, so I'm trying to get my summer shirt on.
I
Trying to
see you, man. I see
get
you.
my summer flex on. But thank you for coming here today. The last time we were here, we were talking about leadership and entrepreneurship, but a lot has happened since then till now. We've seen
Yeah,
things happening that are not supposed to be happening, and I really want to call it. I really want to applaud you for being on the front lines. I saw you live yesterday at the protest, and that really shows, how passionate of a leader you are, and being able to show an example for what we young people should be doing. So I applaud you for doing that, and I'm inspired by your work. And again, thank you for being here today. We're gonna dive right into it. We've seen the George Floyd thing that happened, and how wrong that is. Now, you being in the front lines and being a leader, what is your perspective on what other leaders should be doing during this time?
yeah, that's a really good question. So I kind of want to put friends in there as well because I think what friends should be doing and what leaders should be doing is really the same. Um, and I'll kind of break it down to the easiest, quickest thing for what I think people should be doing in this. The first thing is educating themselves. For the leaders, they know a lot of this stuff has been going on and they get it. But for a lot of friends who are new to this, racial injustice and kind of just joining us as allies to help us, get closer towards abolishing racial injustice. There's a lot coming at them, and if without the education piece of it, it's really hard to defend or help push things forward when people combat you. So the first thing I would say is educate yourself. And there's a lot of ways to do that. The easiest way is to just Google it because there's so many resources out there right now with people putting things out of what you can do to help, the books to read, the YouTube videos to watch. I think one of the best things is just talking to your friends who are Black and of color,
Mhm.
because they're going to be your biggest wealth of knowledge in that realm of hearing their experiences, hearing where Black people have come from. Um, so I would say that's number one. I would say number two is figuring out what it means to speak up and speak out.
Yeah.
A lot of us, myself, you, a lot of other people in the Black community, were saying, we need your help. You need to speak up and speak out. Help us. And I think sometimes we don't give people tangible things to actually do.
Mhm.
So, and it's not our job to necessarily. So I would say if people are wanting to help, whether it's a leader or it's a friend, again, do your research and figure out what you can do, whether it's signing a petition, whether it is registering to vote and
Yeah.
then voting at every election and doing your research on who we should be voting for. Um, and not just voting by political party of, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Really
Mhm.
research these people and see what their policies are, what their mindset is, what their track record is. Have they cared about the people overall, or have they kind of swept it under the rug to vote for renewable energy or climate change, versus infrastructure and whatever else.
Yeah.
So those are a couple of the things that I would say is
Yeah.
important for people to do. Really emphasis on the voting.
And honestly, I think you said it all because this is a time to educate, learn, and understand what's going on and act towards it, and not just educate and sit and watch it happen. Because
Yeah,
I think in the past that has been the situation where people see stuff happening and they just walk by because it doesn't affect their lives. But for us to be having a conversation and for us to be able to make progress, there has to be action happen. It has to be people who are taking action to the right direction. And just like you said, I want to tell all my friends out there, it's not just a Black people struggle. It's something that is going to affect everyone's life. Like
yeah,
literally, it's something that is going to make a better future. The reason why we're here talking today is because someone else sacrificed their lives back in the day to promote this freedom. And if
yep,
we do not do anything during this time, what does next generation, what are they going to go through? Are they going to have the same voice that we have? So I think it's important for everyone to chime in whatever they can do in whatever capacity that they can. um
yeah, yeah,
Another subject I really want to talk about is this, because I think my tag says Black Lives is not a political statement. It's a cry for against injustice, right?
Yep.
Now, I've seen a lot of people posting stuff that happen to kind of like suggest that they think supporting or being against racial injustice is a view. Being against racism is a view. It's not a view. It's either you are for racism or you're not. You are not. You are against it. You know,
Yeah.
what is your perspective of that?
No, I think you nailed it, man, and that's why I loved it when I first saw you share that, because I think that one liner is so accurate. Like, the Black Lives Matter movement is not a political stance. It's not a political statement. However, people are using it as such. I know the right is saying that, we are using, Democratic left talking points, and the Democrats on the left are saying, Black Lives Matter, here's what we've done for you, here's what the opposite side hasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat. We're past that. We don't care anymore. We want both sides and every single person to help us, because I'm convinced that this is mostly a great nation for most people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time to step forward and have America be a great nation for all people in all regards. It's just time for that. And so, we're not fighting left versus right,
No.
conservative versus liberal, Republican versus Democrat. We're fighting right versus wrong.
That's
And
it.
that is it. Racism is wrong. Police brutality is wrong. The system being rigged against people of color is wrong. And so those are the three things that we should fight. And let me make myself clear: when I say police brutality, we are not saying all cops are bad. I have friends that are cops.
Yes.
We're saying bad cops are bad, and there needs to be reform so we can have a system of checks and balances in the police department. So if something does go wrong, there is someone monitoring that and reviewing it. That's a third party. And there needs to be repercussions for that. There has to be punishment. Also, we need to put things in place where we can prevent things from even going wrong. And that's where body cams come in. That's going to deter people from doing things that are not moral. And people will say, well, they can turn the body cams off. Well, if there's a third party reviewing it and they turn it off, that's a red flag, and that should be punished, because that's going to be a rule that you cannot turn your body cam off. So, yeah.
Yes. Now, let me ask you this, because
Yeah.
you were at the protest yesterday, and there's been the looters, people who are committing crime, and I am totally against that. On the other hand, you being at that protest yesterday, what was your perspective? What did you see, and what was it like?
Bro, it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I had like tears in my eyes the whole time, because it was on the steps of City Hall, and there was thousands of people there. I mean, it was full of people who were properly masked up. They're doing their thing as far as that goes. But the energy was so real. There was so much unity going on there.
Yeah.
And I will say, from what I saw, more than half of the people there were white. And I love that, because we're getting our white allies and our white friends there with us to fight it. And the energy was just amazing. And people were just like, they were so in it. It was so well organized. They had speakers from 11 to 1, council people, activists in the city, lawyers in the city. And it was a beautiful thing to see, like, all of us come together and protest and march the right way. No violence, no tearing the other side down or anything. How do we find a solution to this, and how do we work together? It was amazing.
Wow. Now, this is the beauty of it, because the fight that we are fighting today is not it's a fight for equality. It should be a common sense thing. Equality is the right thing to do. It shouldn't be something that I have to explain to people. We should see each other as equal human beings. We are all human beings. There's only one race, it's the human race. Now, when I see the protest and I see, there are more white people than even black people, that gives me joy in my heart, because back in the days, I feel like a lot of people did not have the chance of meeting a few black people, because the news would tell you a different story about black people. Now, having young people who are in different schools, diverse schools, that know thousands of black people, and they're like, oh, this is my friends. I've never seen a bad black person before. So I trust them. And that has been a view that I think a lot of people know that, okay, they are human beings and they're not a statistic, if that makes sense. You know, so I think that has been the wrong narrative for a long time. It's the statistic of people who are angry. But seeing this, I think seeing a lot of people coming out for this movement is a sign for progress. And I don't think this has ever happened before. I don't think it's actually happened this big before. It's probably the first time that we are seeing this massive, outreach going out. And I don't know if you've seen the news. The street to the White House was painted Black Lives Matter.
I saw that.
So that's awesome. We're having progress. Now, another thing I really want to talk about is, and this is something that really hurts my heart, and I each time I see it, it really hurts me. Is so many religious institutions or so many religious leaders are keeping quiet in this time, and they are not using their voice. What is your perspective about that, and what do you think they should be doing right now?
Yeah, so I think that if you are a religious institution, if you are a business, if you are an individual, if you have a pulse at all, you should be speaking up and speaking out against this. Mm-hmm. I think that in the age of social media and technology in 2020, everything is documented, so we see it. Mm-hmm. And the Black community is seeing organizations and people and religious organizations that are speaking up and the ones that are not speaking up. Mm-hmm. And we notice, we see it, and we will remember.
Exactly.
And the thing is I've talked to a lot of friends and businesses that haven't spoken up, and I ask why. And they say, well, we don't want to get involved, or, well, we just don't post that much. Mm. And it's funny because those same people that say that will get vocal against the writers or looters, or on a business standpoint, they'll get vocal on something else. Yes. And to me, that's an excuse, because if you can get vocal about other topics, you can also get vocal about this one. Mm-hmm. And, with me being a Christian and me being very involved in my church and whatnot, I think it is imperative for churches, all of them, to speak up, because again, this is a fight against right or wrong.
Yes. And
we are trying to fight the right portion of it against the wrong. Yes. And throughout the Bible, Jesus preached that. Jesus taught that it's the water's getting muddied by all these political statements, but at the end of it, it's right or wrong. Yes. And Jesus, we want to act like he was this pacifist and he was some peaceful dude. He was peaceful, but he was also a savage, man. Like going into the temple and flipping tables and that kind of stuff. He was calling people out left and right. The thing that Jesus did was he stood for what was right and what was good. Mm. And we are supposed to strive to be more like Christ.
Exactly.
So if we're supposed to be like Christ and Jesus fought for what was right, then in turn, we should fight for what is right. And if the church is teaching that on a weekly basis, but then they're not acting it out, what does that show us about that institution? And I'll say I've seen a lot of churches speak out. My church here in Kansas City has spoken out and been amazing. Not every church has, and especially these big ones that have 30,000 people at their services on Sunday, they have a mega platform to enact some real change. You can't do well, if we post this, are we going to lose people? Well, what if you don't post it? You're still going to lose people. It's just the right thing to do. So I think they have to post, they have to speak out, and that goes for religious organizations, individuals, and businesses.
Yes, and I'm with you on that 100%. Now, just like you've had conversation with a couple of your friends, I've had conversation with my friends too, because I literally had to call them out on like, why are you not speaking out? Why are you not standing for justice? And some of the conversation ended up being like, we don't want to be political. What are you talking about? Who's talking about being political here? It's all about justice or injustice. It's either you are for racism or you're not for racism, right? Now, I want to make a quote from the Bible where we see the story of Jesus, who was standing for the lady who was caught in adultery. He said, anyone who have not sinned should throw the first stone.
Yep.
Now, that's the depiction of what's happening right now, where everyone is keeping silent. We see what's happened. They see what's happening, but no one wants to be the first person to say that is wrong. Now, Jesus was a person who says, this is wrong and we cannot condone it. And if you want to be on the side of Jesus, you should be the one saying, this is wrong and we cannot condone it. And that's
Yeah,
it. You
that's
know,
it. Conversation over.
yeah, there's no middle line. There's no middle ground. There's no saying, oh, let's pray and just watch things happen. No, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
It's dead.
I read the Bible, baby. So I know
I see you.
what the Bible says, right? So it really hurts my heart when I see so many institutions, so many people that I actually love and respect who are not standing in this time and saying this is wrong. You know, we all have to stand together and say this is wrong. It's not a, and also I'm going to say this, I'm African. I've had a few, racist things happen, but I overlook it. But I cannot say that I can compare myself with an African American who has been here for years and have been able to go through this thing. So I don't know a lot about it, but I'm just speaking on it because I see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think every person should not just stand back and watch things happen. It's a time for everyone to stand out. It's either you're standing for or you're standing against us, right?
Yeah,
so,
with you on that. I do have to say one thing, and it's easy for us to see who's doing things on social media, but I think the friends who are listening here, the leaders who are listening and trying to find their voice, because I do have a lot of friends who hit me up and say, we don't know what to say. And I encourage them in that moment and give them some resources. I do think that people should speak up on social media because all of their network is right there listening. But it doesn't have to be just on social media. I mean, it's at your family reunion whenever Uncle, Jerry says a racist joke. Are you going to defend it? Are you going to let it go? Or are you going to tell him that he shouldn't be saying that and here's why? You know what I mean? Are you going to say, this is one thing that I got growing up that hurt my feelings to my core, and I heard it actually a couple of times last year, haven't heard it this year, but little statements like, you're the whitest Black person I've ever met is highly offensive.
Yes.
Because you are saying, I've seen those Black people on TV, they act this way, they do A, B, C, you don't do that, so you actually aren't Black, you are white because of that, and that's highly offensive. And everything in the middle, with those things. So, standing up and speaking out is just defending.
Yes.
It's educating other people.
Exactly.
It is taking your protest to the ballot box and voting. It is educating yourself, like we talked about before.
Yes.
And it is speaking out on social media, whether it is the Black Square or it is you posting something on your story. And know, for my friends and leaders who are listening, you don't have to fight every single person on social media because a lot of times people are so ingrained with it. It's a hard battle to win, especially when you just joined us in this fight. Yes. Give yourself, a break a little bit and understand that help the people who want to know and want to learn and are listening. Exactly. Don't try to, change the people who aren't listening and don't care.
That's really like you said. I really love that you just pinpointed that because I think that's important. Posting on social media, it shouldn't be all that people should be doing. It should be more strategic, in person conversations, in voting and things that actually, affect people more. So I think it's good that you pointed that out too. And also commenting on posts on Facebook, it's easy to attack someone on Facebook. My job, I wouldn't say it's my job, but my thing on Facebook has just been to educate people. If someone puts up a post that I think is not in line with what's going on, I comment and tell you, yo, this are things you should know, before you make a post. Know this and this before you make a post, because your audience are watching. And if you say something that someone agrees with, they say, oh, you agree with me. Let me come on and join you on this. I'm not alone, right? Yeah. So it's not a time to a group or this group or that group. It's a time to educate and understand each other, so I'm really happy
to give resources. You have to give people resources because what the issue and the scary thing is people who believe a certain thing, they normally have people who agree with them on that. So when they're putting something out, it's an echo chamber. Yeah. You say it, oh yeah. They all agree with it. Yes. And that's the importance of conversations like you and I have with each other, but also we have with our friends who may not understand us because they need a different perspective. Right now, they're just getting agreed upon between their friends who agree with them. And we need to get a different perspective as well so we understand, what they're thinking and what they are saying. So I definitely
Mm.
agree with you. I agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
And I think this is my thing too. I think this conversation that we're having right now should continue. It shouldn't stop. It shouldn't stop
Yeah.
when the protest stops. It should be a continuous conversation in different places, because that's the only way that we would learn. Because I have a lot to learn too, and everyone else out there has a lot to learn too. But if we stop educating ourselves, then we stop learning. They say that leaders are readers. You know, read, learn, understand other people as people, and not just judge from seeing them from afar. You know,
Yeah.
so you know, it's beautiful that we have this conversation. I really love. That's why I had to bring you on, because I know
Heck
that
yeah, man.
you are an awesome leader at every aspect. You know, and this is something that everyone needs to hear. Um, Now, I think we've touched on in pretty much a lot of the basis of everything I really want to talk about. But are there some things that you really want to inform people out there, or some other things that you really want to chime into that people need to know about?
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of it, but I would say, reiterating the education piece, reiterating using those things to, you know, the resources and whatnot to help you through the process. That it's online. You can Google it, and actually, if you're on Instagram, go to the Black Lives Matter hashtag, and there's just resources. So many resources.
Yeah.
Get some Black thought leaders. Get some Black creatives in your life, even if you don't know them and they're on social media, because they're going to be giving you a lot of information as well on a higher level, higher quality level, and a higher content level than you and I do. And people have been in this fight for much longer than we have. Follow them. But I would also say, you know, there's just not one way to succeed at this thing. And so also just figure out what works for you. I would say a very tangible thing that you can do right now for the leaders and whatnot who are listening in is have those conversations, but also in this time support Black business.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's incredibly important, not so we can make a bunch of money off of this. I literally don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
It is important for you to understand us on a deep level. That starts in conversations, figuring out who we are. That also is coming to where we're at. I happen to be on the Plaza where a lot of people frequent, so that's an easier step versus going to a restaurant on Troost. But come into our businesses and just talk to us as well. Because I know I've talked to other friends, and it's happening to me as well, where since I am speaking out, I'm getting a lot of people who are excited and they're like, I'm going to frequent your business because I want to support. I've gotten dozens of messages since that article came out on Tuesday of people saying, I put this on my Instagram yesterday. Thank you for speaking up. Now I know where not to spend my money. And that's happened to me quite a bit. It happens to me when I post a picture saying I'm the owner of Yogurtini. People will DM me and say they're not coming back in. This was pre George Floyd. And so we need a way to make up that income as well. So any support for Black business would be amazing. It really shows that you care. But also don't feel pressured. If you don't want to, don't. I'm just saying the people who want to, we would love your support on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome, man.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you again for your wisdom, because you are smart, you are wise, you are an entrepreneur, you're a leader. Thank you for always coming to educate us. And this time we need people like you, people out there who are actually being active, who are using their resources to educate people, to improve the community. So I applaud you for what you're doing. And we FiredUp KC, we support you 100%, and we are with you. And I just want to say, keep doing the good work, and keep pushing, and let's keep educating people.
Appreciate it, man. Well, everyone who's watching right now, you need to tune in and keep seeing these cool shirts that Zeke has, because that guy's he's on a whole nother level of fashion right now. He's killing it out here. He's killing it. I need to get that shirt.
Thank you. All right, guys. You can find Mr. Isaac Yogurtini the Plaza. Go there, support. They have a page. Actually, let them know about your page one more time so people can know.
Sure. Yeah. So my personal page on Instagram and Facebook is Isaac Lee Collins, L-E Collins. And my business page, the one on the Plaza, is at Yogurtini Plaza. And you can find us at Yogurtini Plaza on Instagram and on Facebook. And then if you live up north and you don't want to come into the city, we do have a north location in the Shoal Creek area, which is west of Liberty.
Okay.
And those handles are Yogurtini Shoal Creek on Facebook, and then on Instagram, it's Yogurtini Shoal Creek KC. So would love your support, would love your conversation even more. If you have questions, if you just want to chat it up, reach out to me. I have so many coffees and Zoom meetings set up for next week. A lot of my friends who are on the right, because they just want to understand and I want to understand. So if you have questions, reach out. Would love to talk to you.
Awesome. And I just want to say this finally. This is a time for us to stand together, right? It's not a time for division. It's a time to build together, a time to, you know, support each other and be able to find solutions on how we can progress as a people. So I think everyone out there who wants to listen, please reach out, because we want to talk. We want to be able to educate. I'm not an expert, but things that I know, things that I've seen, things that I've experienced, I can share with you, and we can share with you and be able to, you know, guide you through this process. It's not all about shouting about it. Let's educate and learn from each other. So thank you again, Ms. Isaac, for coming. So always lovely having you on, and you know, let's keep the good work going.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, I appreciate you, bro. You know, I love you to death. I love all of our friends and our leaders out there trying to fight the good fight. And we just appreciate you guys. And Zeke, we really appreciate you for giving us this platform to listen to some of your wisdom as well. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a great day. And, you know, I hope to actually might see you at Yogurtini sometime today. If I see you,
I'm excited, bro.
I'm gonna get that yoga. You know. Awesome.
I appreciate you, man.
Have a great day and stay safe out there.
You too, man. See you later.